I need some truth.
Evidently, there's not too many of us need some truth, but this group in here,
There's
just here
enough that
today,
mean it, right?
we need some truth. We need it. So the first thing I want to do is to thank you for coming to the Course in Miracles. Those of you on Facebook Live, thank you for coming to checking out the Course in Miracles. We're going to take a breath, and we're going to go through a section that the Holy Spirit, the higher power, picked out. And I'm looking forward to doing that. I would much rather listen to the thoughts of the Course in Miracles than my thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not trying to insult anybody, but I'd rather listen to the Course in Miracles than your thoughts.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to be straight
Yes,
up.
you
I mean,
would.
you know, I want to hear some love. I want to hear some unconditional love, some sanity, something that deals with forgiveness, something that deals with my freedom, something that deals truly with connection, and how I can get past my own ego, how I can get past my own false beliefs, the things that I do and the things that I say to myself that creates pain for me. And also need to get in touch with how to not let that part of me that doesn't love me, 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 stop listening to its advice and allowing it to be my guide. And most of all, I want to learn how to catch my ego before I allow that part of me that doesn't know the truth to jam me up some kind of way and create some kind of pain and fear. And even more than that, I want to make connection to that which created me, because I didn't create myself, so I need somebody to blame. Yes. So I need to know who put me here, who created me, and for what purpose, so that I will fulfill my function. And in fulfilling my function, the Course in Miracles promises that I will achieve the fulfillment and the happiness that I've been wanting to have. So those of you on Facebook Live of Earl Purdy, thank you for tuning in like you've been doing every week by the thousands. That is very gratifying from all over the world, as well as people who are here in person. So I want to thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. I'm telling you. If this is your first time being here, I'm going to very quickly give the guidelines for the Course in Miracles that's from the Course in Miracles, okay? So these are the only rules to this particular class. Number one, you need not believe the ideas. Number two, you need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas may seem hard to believe. Some of the ideas may be startling. Some of the ideas may be hard to believe. Some of the ideas may be hard to believe. Some of the ideas may be hard to believe. Some of the ideas may be hard to believe. Did I say
yes?
Some of the ideas may be hard to believe? Okay, so you may hear me say something and you go, that's hard to believe. That's the clue. That's what I said. It might be hard. The Course in Miracles says some of these ideas are going to be startling. Because how are we going to hear something different unless we're hearing something new? And how are we going to hear something new unless we're hearing something different? Which means if you're really hearing something new, it's probably going to be different from what you believe. To me, that's like one of the most obvious truths that people miss. They'll say, I really want to hear something new. I really want to move in a new direction. And then the minute you introduce it, they go, I don't believe that. Well, that's why it's called new. Because it might be something different from the way. And the Course in Miracles says when a person really gets smart and they open up at the spiritual level, they actually resign as their own teacher. Because they'll honestly assess the results of them trying to figure it all out. And then go, you know, there must be a better way because I've been in charge of this process and I'm not experiencing the main thing that the Course says you experience if you're doing it right, which is constant peace and fulfillment that only increases, that it's not up and down and it's not something that's here one minute and gone the next. So any happiness that doesn't last, according to the Course in Miracles, was a pleasant form of fear. It wasn't really love or happiness or real peace to begin with. It was some fear, he says, the Course says that we liked. You know, like when you go to an amusement park and you're on some ride and you're screaming and hollering and you think you're having a good time. That's fear you like. Like, you know, like your relationships. That's your relationship. The fear that you like, right? You know, you get up in the morning, you look at it and go, oh, the fear that I like.
The fear that I like.
Fear, right? So Those of you who are watching online, thank you for coming. It's interactive, and so please take advantage of that and share the video. Today we're going to be in the Course in Miracles in chapter 17, the forgiveness and the holy relationship, and the section is called Setting the Goal. Setting the goal, setting the goal. We're going to talk about goals, what the Course in Miracles teaches about goals today. And also, it's on page 365 in the text, in the Course in Miracles text, the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles. Okay? And I'm going to jump right into this. Now, the Course in Miracles uses Christian terminology to describe universal spiritual themes. So don't let the language keep you from hearing what the content says, if at all possible. The analogy that Spirit gave to me is really cool. It's like if you're on the desert and you were dying of thirst, and I could give you some water, would you refuse it because it's in a glass as opposed to a cup? No. I hope you had enough sense to go, no idea. I don't care if it was in a cup, a barrel, an old Coke bottle, give me some water, okay? Don't let the form that the Course comes in make you miss the water, the content of what it's saying because of past religious beliefs and programming that you grew up with. Because that's the biggest challenge with teaching the Course in Miracles is that people bring their past religious experiences into the words that the Course uses. And so then they get all uptight because they're projecting their past learnings about these words. And that's what the Course in Miracles said, that's what we're always doing. We're always reacting to what we've learned. And so the very first paragraph, I'm going to go through the first paragraph. I'm going to read it first, and then I'm going to go back through and we're going to go, well, what is it trying to tell us? What is it that we need to remember, okay? The practical application of the Holy Spirit's purpose is extremely simple. Extremely simple. But it is equivocal. In fact, in order to be simple, it must be unequivocal. Unequivocal. The simple is merely what is easily understood. The simple is merely what is easily understood. The simple is what? Easily understood. And for this, it's apparent that it must be clear. The setting of the Holy Spirit's goal, the setting of love's goal is general. Now, the Holy Spirit, love will work with you to make the goal specific. The truth will work with you to make the goal specific, for application is specific. Application is specific. There are certain very specific guidelines that the Holy Spirit, which is the voice for truth and love in you, provides for any situation. There are certain very specific guidelines that our inner self gives us for each particular situation that you're in right now. But remember what? Remember that you do not realize these guidelines' universal application. You don't realize how you can apply these guidelines to every situation and every relationship in your life. We're going to receive very specific guidelines, but we don't know yet how to apply them to every situation and circumstance in our life. Woo! Therefore, it is essential at this point to use these guidelines in each situation separately. It's important that we use this instruction in each situation that you're going through separately until you can more safely look beyond each situation, until you can more easily look beyond each situation in an understanding far more broader than you now possess. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I'm gonna have some fun today. That's why we're in here. We don't need no more serious bricks in their butt, serious spiritual students.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
None of that.
These, Lord have mercy. All right. So, let's go back. Okay, so the practical application of the purpose of love, which is what the Course in Miracles is talking about, either love or fear, peace or conflict. It said the Holy Spirit is what? The voice for love in us. In us. In us. In us. The voice for truth in us. Well, it says it has a purpose. The Course says the purpose is for us to experience complete, total, perfect happiness. Anybody open to that? Anybody open to that?
Yes.
I'm being blown away with the enthusiasm of your I'm just blown away with how enthusiastic you are about your happiness. And do y'all want happiness?
Yes.
It's hard to believe.
Bring it on.
Quite startling.
Yes.
It's hard to believe.
Yes. So the first thing then, the Course says a higher intelligence is going to make something available to us that is extremely simple. That's a good place to start. Make it simple. Okay? And then it says, what is simple? Something that's easily understood and clear. So love is going to try to make things easily understood and clear. Fear is going to try to make everything complicated and unclear. So the loving part of you wants everything to be clear and simple. So I want clear, simple relationships. I don't want complicated relationships. A big red flag for me is I'm working on it too hard. To me, that's a red flag. If all we doing is working on it, why don't we just quit? Because that's all we doing. It's just we working on it every day. We working on it every day. All that means is every day I'm trying to get you to be the way I want you to be. Every day I'm trying to get you to be the way I want you to be. Every day I'm trying to get you to follow the script that I've written for how I'm supposed to be happy, and you're supposed to do it. And my perfect partner is the one that acts out my script better than anybody else, even if they don't want to do it. Right? So the Course in Miracles says the simple is merely what is what, easily understood, and it's apparent if it's going to be easily understood, it's got to be clear. So we're going to set the goal of love. We want the goal of peace. We want the goal of happiness, right? Yes. And then the Course in Miracles says, so then your higher power, your inner self, the Holy Spirit, the voice for truth, will work with you to make that purpose very specific, rather than I want general happiness, I want happiness specifically, right? And then it says application is specific. So if I'm going to apply these principles, I need to start applying them specifically to the situations that I'm dealing with in my life every day. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, then the Course in Miracles says there are very specific guidelines that the Creator gives for every situation that you're in. So whatever situation you're in right now that's causing you any kind of conflict, any kind of lack of peace, in any way, then Spirit is providing for you a very specific approach that you should take, a very specific application that you should use in that situation. Do you have a situation?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have? Because that's going to make you tune in more if you have a situation. You know, and the Course in Miracles says a situation is a relationship. That a situation is a relationship. A situation is a relationship. If you're in a relationship, you're in a situation. Right? You're in a situation. And you're either in a peaceful situation or you're in a hellacious situation. You're in a situation that inspires you, or you're in a situation that's depressing you. And so the Course in Miracles says there's a very specific guideline you need in that situation, but what is it that you need to remember that you don't realize yet how you can apply these principles to every situation in your life? Right? And then the Course in Miracles says, therefore, it is essential at this point to use what I'm going to tell you in every situation separately until you can safely look beyond individual situations and realize this is the approach you need to take. For instance, you know, I have to crank a car up specifically to drive it. So after a while, I realized that's what I got to do with any car I drive, no matter what make and model it is. So I learned how to drive in a specific car, And then I eventually transferred it to driving every kind of car that I see. But that's what the course is saying. First, you learn how to apply the truth to a specific situation, and then you apply it to every situation that you come across, because it's not really different. And so, not only will you learn how to go beyond a specific situation, you will have an understanding that's far greater than you now possess. So you're going to be possessed, but by understanding. So how many of y'all want to be possessed by understanding? Yay! Right on, right on, right on. So that was the first paragraph. Any questions or comments about what I've said in the first paragraph? Not trying to do a therapy session on any particular person. Okay, that's not what this is for. But what I want to know is whether or not you heard and understand what it says. That love is going to be apparent and simple. There are guidelines to get out of any situation that you're in. You got to apply it specifically to certain situations, and then you learn how to apply it to every situation. Who doesn't understand that? Doesn't mean you have to believe it, doesn't mean you have to accept it, doesn't mean you have to welcome it. But did you hear it? Okay, now Megan.
I was just going to say that this past week has been interesting for me, because what that paragraph brought up for me is that there used to be a really big difference for me on a week-to-week basis of spiritual participation versus spiritual practice. And so for me, like, spiritual participation is I come here once a week. Spiritual participation is maybe like I have a couple things throughout my week that are like grounded in the truth. And spiritual practice is like, how do I invite this into every single day? And that there's a really big difference for me, and the course is kind of making it really clear that, like, if I want to retrain my way of thinking, if I want to undo learning that's not working for me, showing up here once a week isn't going to work.
Right.
And as amazing as you are, right? But what you're trying to teach us is how to apply this to every single day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm also teaching what I need to learn, because I'm never going to forget when I'm reminding somebody else about it, because it's really selfish.
Yeah.
I teach so that I know. See, I'm in a world that I don't know about you, but I don't hear people talking this kind of stuff.
No.
I don't see it on TV. I don't see it in the movies. I don't hear you are unconditionally loved. You're innocent. You're a child of God that's very powerful, that's the creator of your experience, that you're not a victim of the world. You see, that you deserve to be happy. You don't need to be in crazy relationships.
Yeah.
You know, the world is not teaching us that, right? So if I'm not proactive about hearing something different, I'm not going to hear anything different here. And then the more you get in the habit of listening to a way of thinking, the easier it is for you to continue in that groove. So it gets harder and harder. If you procrastinate, the longer you procrastinate, the easier it is for you to procrastinate. You know, that's the funny thing about it. So I'm going to be proactive about changing my mind, because the main rule of metaphysical spirituality is our beliefs create our reality, our thoughts create our reality, our vibration draws to us the things that come to us. So therefore, I need to have a new set. If green, let's say the color green is going to bring me all kind of prosperity and abundance and love, and the color blue thinking is going to bring me nothing but judgment and conflict and fear, it would make sense to me that I would be working on green thinking, and that I'd want to be around other people who want to work on green thinking, while realizing that we still got blue thinking. So I've got to forgive myself for my blue thinking while I'm learning green thinking. So, but the average person wants to get green thinking results with blue thinking thoughts, right? And they think hearing about green thinking is going to create green thinking results. So I came to the class once every 6 months, and my entire life has not changed, so it doesn't work. No, you're still using blue thinking. In the very beginning, you got to literally tell yourself things that you don't believe are true. That's how you change your mind. In the beginning, you say the opposite, in a sense, of what you believe. So the Course in Miracles is saying that love, God, truth is simple. It's not hard, it's just different. Anybody else before I go to the next paragraph? Because this is a powerful section. I want to try to get through as much of it as I can today. Now, your bodies are your communication devices. So as you look around the room, you're looking at various communication devices, learning devices. Your body is not you any more than a hammer or a saw is you. So get in the habit when you're looking at bodies of saying, damn, that's a bad learning device. You know what I'm saying? That's the hottest learning device I've ever seen. Get a PhD through that learning device. I know that. But, okay. So, well, then that means you're invisible. You're invisible. You're invisible. I'm just looking at your speaker. And some of you got a Bose. Right? And that's an awesome speaker. It's a Bose. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And that's a matter of your perception of yourself. Because you can be a self-declared Bose speaker.
Yeah.
I'm a self-declared Bose speaker.
That's right. You don't have to wait for somebody else to tell you that. The quickest way to hear I love you is for you to say it to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You don't have to wait.
No.
You know, I don't have to wait for anybody to take me out to dinner. I take me out to dinner. You know, I always get lucky with me.
Always.
Yeah, always. Never turn myself down. Not once. Once. That's right. That's a new kind of Me Too movement. You know. Me too. Me too. Yeah, okay. All right. So what is it?
Very good.
See, I try to weed people out right at the very beginning. I don't kid around. It's like, I want to run you right out of here if you're not so mean. If I don't resonate, then I'm going to run you right out at the very beginning. Okay. In any situation in which you're uncertain, in any situation where you have any kind of doubt, the first thing you should consider, is, what do I want to come of this? I'm in this situation. You know the situation you mentioned earlier. Ask yourself, what do I want to come of this? What is it for? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? He says the clarification of the goal belongs where? At the beginning. So at the very beginning of a relationship, you should clarify, why am I going out with you? What is this for? Why do I want this job? Why do I want this career? Why do I want my spiritual development? What do I want to come of this situation? Which means, what is it for? So the Course says the reason why it's important that the clarification of the goal belongs at the beginning is it's going to determine the outcome. See, the goal determines the outcome. I had the goal to come here and teach today. The outcome is I'm sitting here teaching. The goal determines the outcome. If you don't have a goal, you don't know how it's going to turn out.
Nope.
If you have a goal, you know how it's going to turn out, but you don't know how you're going to get there. How is none of your business. The goal and staying focused on the purpose should be your business. Most people do it just the opposite. They'd say, oh, I want to go to have a nice relationship, and immediately go, how am I going to do it? 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 How am I going to make that happen? See, that's opposite. It should be, I need to be clear I want a loving relationship. I need to say clear I want a loving relationship. I need to be clear that that is what I want. And how it's going to happen is going to come from the clarification of the goal. The Course in Miracles says the goal will create the means to achieve itself. And I go, wow, that's deep.
That's deep, yeah.
Yeah, but you know that's true. How many times have you wanted something and it happened in ways you never thought of?
Yes.
We've all had that experience. Matter of fact, practically everything that's ever happened, it's never turned out the way you planned it in every detail. I defy you to tell me one plan you've ever made that in every single detail of it turned out exactly the way you planned it, right? So the Course in Miracles says next that in the ego's procedure, in the false self's procedure, in the procedure of someone that doesn't know the truth, in fear's procedure, this is reversed. The situation becomes the determinant of the outcome, which can be anything. So the Course says the reason for this disorganized approach is evident. The ego, the part of us that doesn't know what the truth is, the part of us that doesn't love us, the part of us that thinks we're separate, the part of us that thinks we're guilty, the Course says that part doesn't even know what it wants to come out of the situation. That there's a part of you that you ask the person, what do you want to come out of your relationship? I don't know. I just want somebody to watch, As a matter of fact, the mind that is unaware, that is not spiritually awakened, the Course in Miracles says is aware of what it doesn't want. And only that. I want to take you out to dinner. I don't want to go to McDonald's. I don't want to go to, illegal Pete's. I don't want to go. You see, they'll start telling you what they don't want. But I don't want to go to that movie. And I don't like to eat that. And I want to take that dinner, but I don't like to eat that. But the Course says the ego mind only knows what it doesn't want. The false self only knows what it doesn't want. It has no positive goal at all. That's the second paragraph. So what does the second paragraph tell us? Whatever the situation that you're in right now, you need to be asking yourself what you want to happen in that situation. That's the first thing you need to do, because your goal is going to determine how it turns out. And don't be talking about what you don't want. Because whenever you talk about what you don't want, the course says you project it out away from you and then you meet it. You know, which is funny. You know, it's like if I say I don't want this, then I throw it out. Then I walk right up on it. That's why most people's lives seems like they're constantly coming up on situations that they don't want because that's all they're aware of is what they don't want. And they think that saying I don't want to be broke is the same as saying I want to know my abundance. Saying I don't want a horrible relationship, they think that's the same as saying I want a beautiful one. No, you have to say I want a beautiful one, not I don't want, you know. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's paragraph 2. Any questions or comments about that paragraph of what we talked about so far? Trudy.
I'm trying to apply this to my personal situation, and I promise I'll be brief.
Okay.
But on the way over here, the engine light came on in my car,
Uh-huh.
so I prayed that I make it here. And now,
That was what you wanted to come out of the situation.
what do I want to come out of this? Well,
You wanted to make it.
my situation is that I think this has come up so that I can determine if it's time to get a new car or if it's time to fix the old one again.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know exactly how to be positive when I don't have a clue what I want.
Well, if you want to be, a positive goal is no matter what happens, I want to have peace. See, the Course in Miracles is only, I'm glad you said that so I can clarify something. The Course in Miracles is only concerned with our perception. The Course in Miracles is not a manifestation book.
Nope.
It's not going to talk to you about your career. It's not going to talk about your bank account. It's going to talk about you never losing your peace, staying centered so that you can hear your own inner guide. And in hearing your inner guide, you'll be told what to do. That's what the Course in Miracles is about, removing the blocks to hearing God's presence and hearing your guidance. Okay? Because the truth is, if whatever I want, I don't want that thing, I want that thing for the experience that I think that thing is going to give me. So whenever somebody tells me what they want, I know that they're saying that they think that thing is going to give them an experience. I want to be in a relationship. I want to have the experience of joining. You know what I'm saying? I want a house. I want to have the experience of feeling secure in what I think of as my home. We're always asking for experiences, and the thing we ask for is the thing we think is going to bring us the experience. I want to kiss, right? Then I tell myself, I want to kiss you because I think I'm going to have that experience. So the Course says, cut out the middleman and just ask for the experience. See, ultimately I want my car working so I'll have peaceful transportation or peace around my transportation. So I still want peace. So to me, the highest level of consciousness is when I'm on a level of consciousness that no matter what happens, I don't give my peace up. I stay centered. That's what I ask for now. I don't ask for stuff. I no longer believe stuff is going to bring me anything like I used to. And that's not saying I don't appreciate stuff. I like good stuff. I like stuff. If you ever came to my apartment, you know I like lots of stuff. That's what nobody calls. All right. So my point is, it's all neutral. The car is neutral. The car having an engine light on is neutral. It's going to be the meaning you give to it is going to determine how you feel about that. You know, I had to have some work done on my car that was quite a bit of money. And so I see, the Course told me to always see paying as giving. Don't ever see paying as you losing. You just giving away something, so now you don't have that. No, the Course says, no, see it as giving, then you kick in the law of giving and receiving, and it comes back to you more than you gave because you gave that money to that particular mechanic. Right? You gave it to that company. So you fed everybody who worked at that company and their families. That's what you did. You gave. I haven't paid a bill in years. I've given, and I've never seen it not come back in some form. But when I looked at it as paying, I was always in credit card debt. When I started looking at it as giving, that's when I got out of credit card debt and got a damn good credit score. That was never happening when I saw it as, I got to pay that bill. You the one that made the charges. So why are you getting upset because they're asking for the money? You know, you watch people, what is on here, little pay that bill? Can't believe they called. You the one that took the card out. It wasn't like you were standing up there and targeting somebody. You got to charge that. There wasn't nobody that came up behind you and said that. You got bills because you charged. They actually had faith in your future earning ability. That's why you get fronted you the money.
Yep.
You know, okay, they assume you were going to be able to take, they had faith in your ability to pay it, right? So the Course in Miracles says, without a clear-cut positive goal set at the outset, situations just seem to happen. And they don't make any sense until they've already happened. So a person is always having stuff happen to them that they don't expect. Who are they? That's a person who didn't have a clear-cut positive goal at the very beginning. So if you want to get rid of stuff that's happening to you and you don't know why, he says you need to have a clear-cut positive goal set at the outset, because if you don't, the situation just seems to happen. That means it won't make any sense until it's already happened, and then you'll look back at it, try to piece together what it must have meant, and you will be wrong. So when you look back at situations and you're trying to piece together why did that relationship or whatever that was went bad after the fact when you didn't have a goal in the first place, you will be wrong. Not only is your judgment in the past, but you didn't have any idea what should have happened in the first place because you didn't set a goal. Right? So the Course says no goal was set in which to bring the means in line. Until I have a goal, I won't know how to bring the means to achieve the goal in line. I have a goal to get here. I don't have my car today. The means needs to be maybe me calling an Uber. But if I didn't have the goal, I wouldn't also draw to me the means to achieve it. Is this making sense to everybody?
Yes.
Okay? So if you don't remember anything else when you leave here today, remember, what do you want to come of it? What is it for? And what is the purpose? And to bring that in everything. Somebody want to go out with you, they ask you out, you say, what for? What do you want to come of this? And I won't touch that. Okay, now, the Course in Miracles is saying that you and the person should know what they want to go out with you for. Or whatever they want to do. And because if not, y'all just be sitting around waiting for something to happen. And then what you'd be called a boring date. Because you had no idea what should happen. And then stop trying to be interesting. And be interested. When you go out on a date and you meet somebody new, don't try to be interesting. Be interested. Ask questions. Ask lots of questions. And that way, you'll know what level of consciousness the person is on pretty much that you're getting ready to date, especially if you know yourself. If you know yourself, you'll know instantly whether or not that person is compatible with the way you are. And it'll also help you know the best way to relate to them peacefully. Because out of everything they say, it might be one thing that you liked. And you just make sure that's what you do with them, and the rest of it you don't. Unless you're looking for that person to be your everything, which most people do, which puts a ridiculous amount of pressure on any partner. Because you're looking for them to satisfy your every need, and why should they do it when you've been miserably unsuccessful? And you know you better than they do. And you haven't been able to pull it off, right? But you're supposed to pull it off. And I'll give you some of my dysfunctional love. Okay. And then the Course in Miracles says, no goal was set with which to bring the means in line. Now the only judgment left is to what? The only judgment left is to make is whether or not you like it, whether what's happening is acceptable, or does this call for vengeance? Do I need to go off on somebody? Because I didn't know what should have happened. Now something has happened. And I'm just trying to decide, do I like this, do I not like this, or do I need to really go off on you? And then the Course says, the absence of a criterion for outcome, that's a fancy way of saying the absence of a goal. I like that, the absence of a criterion for outcome. It says, set when, in advance, makes understanding doubtful and also makes evaluation impossible. If I don't have a goal, how can I evaluate? If I've set the goal that I'm only going to be in non-abusive relationships, that's all I'm going to have. That's all I'm going to be. I will not be in a relationship with a person that's constantly judging me, criticizing me, condemning me. That's not going to happen to Earl. Okay? Now, if somebody's cussing me out and judging me, I can evaluate because I had a goal. So without a goal, you can't evaluate the situation you're in. If you don't know how you should be treated, you won't even know when you're being mistreated. Yeah. And if you don't love yourself, you're going to always be drawn back to the person that's mistreating you. And if you don't love yourself, you're never going to be attracted to a person that does. And so those of you who are loving, you don't have to worry about ending up with people that are a big problem. They will simply not be interested in you if you're truly loving. They will not be turned on by you. You'll be friend zoned so fast it'll make your head spin. I'm telling you the truth. I've been doing this almost 40 years. I'm telling you, the Course says the biggest illusion we have is that we're different. We're not different. Just talk to a few people. They're not different. They're not really saying anything radically different that they're trying to do. They are only having their own flavor of cake. But it's still cake. Right? It's not until you say, I'm going for the pie. Now you've chosen something different. Most people, they just want the same things. They want power, money, fame, and physical pleasure. That's what the Course calls it. Power, some type of power, influence, money, fame, which is specialist. I want you to treat me better than anybody else and be the most important. And physical pleasure. I'm going on a trip. I want some good loving. So you talk to the average person, that's what they're going to say. Power, successful in my career, successful in what I do. I mean, people aren't really that different. You don't really hear anybody go, well, I'm here for the evolution of my soul. It's to help the planet completely. That ain't what you hear. I want a new car. That's what I want. You know what I mean? So the Course in Miracles is saying to us that it's not until you get past the programming that we've gotten that you really get a chance to see who you are. Until you're not the little cookie cutter program person. That's the person. Like I do astrology, and I've done it for many, many years because it is so ridiculously accurate in determining the soul's path and people's personalities. They'd be freaked out if they knew. It's the easiest path to your experience. Like Spirit saying, I didn't just drop you here without a plan. But y'all so narrow-minded and limited in the way that y'all look at things that you don't give things that's beyond what you know an opportunity to help you. But you really not as difficult to figure out as you think you are. You know? So it's like someone saying, this is your car, this is what your car can do. And so now I know I have a four-wheel drive, I'm much more likely to be more willing to go up in the mountains. Right? But it's really ultimately the kind of drive I am that's going to determine my trip. So I could give you the best car in the world. If you hate yourself, you're going to drive it right off a cliff. Right? So I don't care. There's no bad chart. There is nobody I've never seen a bad chart. It's just people who don't know themselves, not utilizing their own potentials and trying to live out somebody else's script that somebody else told them. Somebody's going to tell you what's in fashion for you to wear and it makes sense to you. And then you judge yourself because you wore white in the fall. You know, it's like, that's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But it makes perfect sense because when you're around everybody that's doing crazy stuff, it don't seem crazy. And so it doesn't seem, and then somebody goes, well, I'm wearing polka dot black. What's wrong with it? You have no taste. And if that determines how you feel about me, I'm glad you're not interested in me. So that's the way I feel about it now. It's like, oh, good. Thanks for weeding yourself out. Thank you. So why? Because my goal is to have unconditional acceptance and love for myself. And to feel like it's okay for me to dress or express myself the way that I want to. Because most of the people that have opinions, they are not taking care of you. So I always give them the test. Are they feeding me? Are they clothing me? Are they housing me? Well, what you think really don't matter. Who are they anyway? Who's that elusive they? I'm looking for the they. Where's they? What do they think? No, they're not thinking about you. They're totally self-absorbed and thinking about themselves. The most they're going to do is look at you 2 seconds. That dress so is short. Now let me tell you what's going on at work. And in the meantime, you're obsessing. They're going to think it's too short. I'm not going to be able to walk down the street. They don't think they don't have no, and they don't. They're thinking about what they're going to have for dinner. They're not thinking about your clothes. They really aren't. For just a split, you know how I know what I'm saying is the truth because you do it all the time. Think about it. You do it all the time. When was the last time you obsessed about anything you saw anybody wearing all day? Think about it. Think about something you saw somebody doing something. I was leaving a party one day. Not a party. I was leaving a concert one day, and I was walking with my friends, and we were walking back to the car, and there was a naked guy in the fountain. And we said, wow, there's a naked guy in the fountain. Did you see the naked guy in the fountain? Yeah, now, what do y'all want to go and have something to eat after this? You know that's what you'll do. You'll go, oh my goodness. And you'll move right on. Everybody's doing that about you. It's just your own belief in your own specialness that makes you think that somebody's obsessing about what you do, which means you're free.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. It's not because you're not important. I'm saying it so that you can be free. And so the Course in Miracles is saying the value of deciding in advance what you want to happen, the value of deciding in advance what you want to happen is that you'll see the situation as a way to make what you want to happen happen. See, if I know what I want to happen in this situation is that Jason and I have a pleasant conversation, then when Jason and I are together, I'm going to see this situation as a way to make that happen. Whatever I want, I'm going to see every situation I enter into as a way to make that happen. I wanted the Course in Miracles to happen. So I'm seeing this situation as a way to make the Course in Miracles happen. You wanted to make the Course in Miracles happen. So you're in a situation that makes the Course in Miracles happen. That's what you're supposed to look at every situation as being, an opportunity to make what you want to happen, happen. You will therefore do what? Well, you'll make every effort to overlook what interferes with the accomplishment of your objective. What does that mean? If I want to have a pleasant conversation with Jason, I'm going to try to overlook anything that would keep me from having a pleasant conversation with Jason. So if he says something that I don't like, I'm going to overlook it. Because I want to focus on Jason and I having a cool conversation. So the Course says, and so how you do that? You concentrate on everything that helps you meet your objective. So telling him how we could come together in peace and joy, that's me concentrating on everything that could make us have a pleasant conversation happen. So you overlook what keeps you from having what you want, and you focus on that what helps you meet it, because you know what you want. So immediately you start seeing the way to do it. The Course in Miracles is what I call super common sense. The Course in Miracles says the second coming of Christ is the return of your common sense. And that, I love that. I love that line. Yeah, you all just, when I was growing up, they used to call it just that. My mama said, don't lose your common sense, boy. Because a lot of people are intellectual giants and don't have no common sense. Like a common sense, let me give you an example. Common sense says you don't destroy your environment, since it's what nurtures you and sustains you. That's common sense.
Yeah.
But we're doing it. And people say, well, we can't do the stuff that help with the greenhouse gases because people are going to lose jobs. Well, if there's no planet, who in the hell cares whether or not you lose a job? See, that's common sense. But it's gone. It's gone. But that's me having to get back to common sense because the Course teaches it's all me. It's just one of us here, looking like it's a bunch of us. That's what really was happening. We're the same, whatever this is, looking like we're. Then the Course says what happens is, if you don't want to own your thoughts, you just project them into the other parts of yourself. Say it's not your thoughts, but it really is your thought. They're just carrying your thoughts. And then they come to you and you say, oh my God, where are they in my life? Where they're carrying your thoughts. They're your thought carriers. So they're actually bringing your own thinking to you that you are not willing to admit that you have. So it has to look like somebody else is bringing it to you. You don't love yourself, so you attract somebody that says you're a bunch of crap. You can't get away from them because that's your thought about yourself, but you don't want to believe you think that way about yourself, so you need a person carrying your thoughts. I'm a thought carrier. I'm telling you. That's why are you drawing them to you? Why are you drawing a certain type of person to you all the time, even though you think you're different? No, because you're not. They're just carrying your thoughts around that you are not, because I have an idealized version of myself, right? I'm cool. That's my idealized version of myself. Everybody needs to be more like me. If people thought more like me, the world would be a better place, right? That's what everybody's waiting for. Everybody else to change. So I realize all of my anger, guilt, and grievances that I have that I'm not willing to admit, they're being projected into everybody around me. And so now I'm attracting all these angry people who are always judging and condemning. And I'm the nice one, surrounded by all these crazy people. Sound familiar? And so the Course in Miracles says, this is what you do. You concentrate on everything that helps you meet your goal. You overlook everything that makes you interferes with your goal. And then he says this is quite noticeable that this approach has brought you closer to love's sorting out of what's true and what's false. So let me give you an example of how you can tell what's true. What's true becomes what can be used to meet your goal. So anything that's going to help me meet the goal of talking to Jason in a peaceful way, I'm going to call that the truth. And anything that's not going to help me meet my goal, I'm going to say that's false. That's how you do it. And then the Course in Miracles says, now the situation has meaning because your goal made it meaningful. This is meaningful to me because of my purpose of sharing the truth with you. So this is, if I didn't have the goal, I wouldn't know what this meant. It wouldn't mean, maybe it wouldn't, some people this doesn't mean anything to. They can be in here and they're just counting the seconds till they can get out the door. And then some people, when I finish, they'll go, man, I was just getting warmed up. I wish you had gone 30 or 40 minutes longer than that. And other people think they deserve a medal because they lasted that long. You know. Somebody brought them, they came kicking and screaming, you know. Or they trying to get next to somebody and they want to impress them. You know how it is. Yeah, I'm come to your class with you. Yeah. You know. Because I got this goal and I think this is going to help me achieve it. If I come with you. See?
And it's true.
And it's true. It might actually work for a minute. That's right. For a minute. And then, okay. For a minute. Okay. Then the Course says, now before I go to the next part of that, any comments or questions about, we've covered quite a bit.
Oh, wow.
Does
That's
it make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
What I've said?
It's
This
flowing.
book that nobody can read because it's so hard, is it making sense to everybody?
Yes. Making common sense.
So what do you want? 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 What do you want?
Peace.
You're right. There are rules to peace. So you can't have peace and murder people. You can't have peace and totally judge everybody around you, including yourself. See, there are rules to happiness, and you didn't make them up. See, that's the part. See, that we have the erroneous beliefs that we can make ourselves happy by fantasizing about what we think we want that's missing, which is already coming from lack. And then when I come up with this thing, when I get it, I'm going to be happy, which we know isn't true, because there's nothing we've ever gotten that satisfied us but temporarily. Or else we wouldn't be always searching. So the first rule of happiness is you don't really know how to make you happy. So you need to let that which created you reveal it to you, send it to you, manifest it for you. And it's going to be better than what you've been doing because it's going to be satisfying. That means it wins. And you can tell when you're satisfied because you're no longer seeking, you're appreciating. And then what you appreciate increases. So a conscious being knows it's appreciation that increases what you have. An unconscious being thinks it's just getting more because you don't have enough. Right? Right? So, yes, by all means.
I just wanted to say, like, I like to also put some of those things in reverse, that, like, I think my fear and my ego very often has a goal, and it's of guilt and separation. And so when I look into, like, whatever my experience is at any given time, and I'm noticing that I'm having judgmental or condemning people, or there's conflict at my work, or if there's, like, any of those things, like, those are the things that my fear and my ego does want.
Right,
And
so
it's
it's
like
doing the same thing.
I have to clearly have a goal of
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah.
Or else I'm gonna go with that kind of conditioned programming of what I want, which
The
is
default
fear and
setting.
separation, yeah.
The default setting.
Yeah, so I have to clearly
Thank
set a
you.
goal for something else, because my automatic goal through ego and fear is gonna be everything else I'm experiencing.
That's why for the last 30 years I've listened to the truth all night. Because I've decided I'm either going to be hearing the voice of my ego, the part that wants to keep me full of some type of upset, or I'm going to be listening to something that's going to be a positive outcome. I'm not leaving. I'm telling you, don't leave it up to chance.
No.
Don't leave it up to you. You're just going to think something just really wonderful when you're most upset. You know, when you're most upset is when you're most likely to not remember the truth.
Yeah.
Where did you get the pillow speaker?
The what? It's not a pillow speaker. It's just it's just a regular little boom box with a iPod on it.
Okay.
Yeah. The ones you get that your thoughts create your reality. The ones you really start to, no joke, believe that your consciousness determines your reality. The only thing that would make sense to you is to change your mind. Anybody that's not trying to change their mind is somebody that doesn't know the truth. Anybody that's telling you all the things outside themselves that need to be different in order for them to be happy, you are talking to a person that you can already realize that they think everything outside of themselves needs to be different for them to be happy. They're going to think you need to be different. in order for them to be happy. So you already know you with the person that's going to be trying to change you, because they talk about how they're using their mind to come up with who else needs to be different. See, the Course says there are no private thoughts if you're a listener. If you observe, people will think you're a mind reader, but you're not. You're just listening and you're watching. And they reveal everything you need to know. Just listen. Just watch. Somebody go out with you, don't pay attention to what they're saying to you. Pay attention to what they're saying to the server that walked up to the table. They're talking all that good stuff to you, and they, you better make sure you come back with my stuff on time. Well, okay, now you know what they're going to tell you, and they're not thinking too highly of you that day. Right? But your specialist tells you, oh, they would never go off on me like that. See, that's how your specialist screws you. Because it'll always make you think that person is going to treat you differently. They will when you don't act out the script. It only looks like you're acting out the script, but you have the potential of acting out this script, they'll probably be pretty chilled out. They're upset with the waiter because the waiter didn't act out the script. And also remember this, you all. No matter what I'm saying, there's another way to look at it. There's no person that can cover all perspectives of any single thing. So that doesn't negate the perspectives you might have of what is being said today. I'm not saying my interpretation of it is the only interpretation, but I try to stick with the book. See, and so the book says what's true becomes what will help me reach my goal. What's not true is what will not help me reach my goal. So when I do the Course, I'm trying to let the Course teach the Course. I'm not really trying to give you Earl Purdy's opinion, because we all got opinions and we all have interpretations. But but the Course says if your interpretation is not giving you joy, it's wrong. I don't care what that interpretation, it doesn't matter what your interpretation is. When you get through with that interpretation and you're not feeling lighter, you just gave yourself an ego interpretation. Even of death. When you see death correctly, you will not get upset about it. You will realize that it's a release, it's a liberation, and it's a reward. But as long as you think you are the thing that dies, then you're going to get terribly depressed. So if I think I am the body that dies, and I've lost sight of my spiritual identity, then I'm going to freak out at the idea of death. If I know I'm not a body, if I realize I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, then dropping my body is like dropping my pants. And I don't hold funerals for my trousers. And I don't have people standing over my trousers going, Earl was a good guy. Look at that priest. That's heavy starch. Mark that. You know, that's how crazy it is that we are about the body. You know your body has changed since you were a baby. That's how you know it's not real. It doesn't stay the same. But you know you're that same being. If you be honest with yourself, you know you were that same being that was running around the yard playing. You just have more life experience. Some of us a whole lot more life experience. And the older I get, the more I realize I don't know. That's how you can always tell wisdom. Wisdom goes, I don't really see the big picture like I thought I did. So I need some guidance. Immature souls think they know everything, and they know what's best for everybody, and they know exactly what's going to make them happy, and all of that. And you need that because it motivates you and it fires you up and it makes you be excited about your life even though you're wrong as hell. Okay. How do I know you're wrong? Because 2 seconds later, I need more. I need more. So the Course says to us that the goal of truth has further practical advantages. If you use the situation for truth and sanity, that's your purpose. It says the outcome must be peace, and that's quite apart from what the outcome is. If peace is the condition of truth, then sanity, it says if peace is the condition of truth and sanity, then you can't have peace without truth and sanity. So the reason why there's no peace in the world is what? There's no truth and sanity. He says where peace is, sanity and truth is. So if you are peaceful, I know you're in the same place. If you're peaceful, I know you're in the truth. People who are upset are always wrong. So if you're around people, they're upset about one thing or another, you're talking to a person who does not know the truth.
Wow.
And that's most people.
Pretty much.
Pretty much covers practically everybody in society, as we know. Then the course says truth comes of itself. If you experience peace, it's because the truth has come to you. So wherever you have in peace, that's when you're most likely seeing things truthfully. And then it says you're going to see the outcome truly because deception can't prevail against you. So that means the more peaceful you are, the harder it is to fool you. So it's hard to deceive a person who has peace because their perception is not distorted. Right? And then the course says you'll recognize the outcome because you are at peace. So it's not, so if I'm upset with somebody about a situation that we need to discuss and I'm upset, the first thing I do is try to get back to center for myself before I discuss the situation. I never want to discuss the situation with a person while I'm upset. Don't ever let anybody make you talk when you know you're upset. And don't you go anywhere, that's what you do. Every time something come up, then you just want to walk away. Yeah, that's why you're still alive. You need to be thankful that I walk away. So when you're most upset, separate to heal. Separate to heal. Then come back. Okay, now I'm back to sanity a little bit. Let's talk about it, right? He says, here again you see the opposite of fear's way of looking. For the fearful man believes the situation brings the experience. The loving man knows that the situation is going to be as the goal determines the situation, and the situation is going to be experienced according to the goal. There's no such thing as two people in a relationship that want to have peace and happiness with each other that can't achieve it. There's no such thing as that. There's no excuse for two grown people not being able to work things out unless somebody's addicted to being right and the other person having to change and not themselves. That's why things don't get settled. You got to have it your way. Then the Course in Miracles says it. And I'm moving at a pace like this because I want to finish this as a couple of paragraphs. Because I would rather you walk away today remembering something the Course said than anything. Because one of the biggest challenges, I think, to the Course in Miracles class is that people forget what they heard. And that's why they don't come back a lot of times, because they didn't hear any one point. So if you walk away and you say, Earl gave me that, I heard something today that I really want to take into my situation, now the class has meaning, right? You know, and so the main thing is not to try to remember everything, but to try to remember one thing, and one thing, he says, one truth will lead you to all truth. Just doing one of these things consistently will lead you to all truth. You know, the Course in Miracles says, in my Thursday night class, it's something I said from the Course that has really stuck with me, which was that a good teacher's first and foremost goal is to motivate. Not to so much the information, but if you walk away today more motivated to give yourself peace and to set a goal, then I've done well as a teacher. If you're motivated, right? So the most you can do with anybody is to motivate them to want to change themselves. So when you say you want to change somebody, then the closest you can get to changing somebody is to motivate them to change, right? So if I want my partner to treat me more peacefully and more consciously, then what I should be doing is giving them a reason to. Being more motivated. How can I help motivate them to want to be more kind with me and more open and receptive? You can't change me, but you could motivate me to want to be nicer to you. You could motivate me to really want to communicate honestly with you, and that ain't gonna happen by you attacking me. That ain't gonna happen by you attacking me. I'm never gonna want to change for somebody that's attacking me unless I don't believe I deserve peace. Just like you were saying earlier, if the ego can have the goal, there could be a part of you that has a goal of punishing you. So if it has the goal of punishing you, then it's going to use everything as the means to cause you pain. The same rule is going to apply. What do you want to come out of this? Your pain, your suffering. Okay, then what are you going to do? I'm going to concentrate on everything and everybody that makes me suffer, and I'm going to overlook everybody that treats me kind and good. It's the same thing. And everybody that is treating me kind and good, I'm not going to notice. Because my goal is to suffer. Why? Because I feel guilty. I don't feel worthy. My parents told me I was worthless. So I have a core belief in my unworthiness. I want it to be proved by my relationships, my financial situation, my health, and everything else. So I overlook everything that could get me out of those situations. I could have the biggest opportunity to show up, but I won't show up on time. You see what I'm saying? I am going to self-sabotage everything if I believe I deserve to suffer. So the Course in Miracles says to us, and this is really, it's awesome. It says, if you're going to have the goal of truth, it requires faith. Faith is implicit in the acceptance of love's purpose. And this faith has got to be all-inclusive. What does that mean? It means wherever your goal of truth is set, that's where your faith must be. Where must your faith be? In your goal. See, I don't ask people to have faith in me. I ask people to have faith in the goal of truth. I have an ego. I'm going to be inconsistent. I'm not going to always do everything right, but get that. And I don't believe it when you say you are either. Okay, so you can say it to me, but I ain't going to believe it. You can say, I'm never going to get upset no matter what you do. And I'm saying, how are you levitating? I see you floating around. Where's your wings? Okay. I don't see none of that. You are sometimes going to get upset. So you be lying to me like that. You know what I'm saying? Because then when you do go off on me, I'm going to feel like you betrayed me. But if you told me I'm a work in progress, I'm doing the best I can, that's going to automatically make me more understanding of any errors you make. But if you do that old stuff that people do in relationships, I love you so much and I'll never, ever attack you for any reason. I won't get upset. You can always count on me. And then you think something, and then because you don't believe that, you go, wow, I'm not having faith. No, you just recognize there's a lie. Because that person is not completely whole yet. Or as you would see a person of unlimited levels of peace. So they may want to be that way. I'm not denying that they may want to be kind to you no matter what, but don't be stupid. You know, do you still get upset?
Yes.
Yes. Then you ain't gonna attract nobody who never does. Because like attracts like. So if I can be afraid, you can be afraid. If you can be jealous, I can be jealous. Even if I'm saying I never felt a bit of jealousy in my whole life. If I'm with somebody that is, I can feel it too.
Yes.
I just haven't had the right situation show up. And besides, if I walk out of the door and you're clinging to my ankles as I walk out because you can't stand being separate from me, of course I'm not going to act jealous. I feel like I got you completely. So the insecure person makes the other one feel like they're secure. So the other one goes, I'm so jealous. Well, I'm making you feel so friggin' special that you think you got me, so you don't have to feel jealous consciously. But do the same thing they doing and see what happens. Let you do the same thing to the person that never gets jealous and it really looks like somebody else is coming before them and you really got some feelings for somebody else, and watch how detached they are then. It's impossible for you to be different from the person that you're with, the person that you're attracted to, and especially the person you have sex with. You ain't letting nobody into your learning device unless there's some real thing that's the same happening right there. See that? Right. But God wanted to make sure y'all got that. There's no accident. That's no accident. So the Course says, now this is the good part. It says the goal establishes the fact that everyone involved in the goal. The goal establishes the fact that everybody involved with the goal will play their part in its accomplishment. That's inevitable. No one will fail in anything. Did y'all hear that? I say it again. The goal establishes the fact that everybody involved with the goal are going to play their part. And the Course says no one will fail in anything. He says, but this seems to ask for faith beyond you to believe that everybody's going to play their part. And it seems like it's asking for faith beyond what you can give. I can't believe everybody's going to play their part. He says, so this is so only from the viewpoint of the ego. It's only the part of you that doesn't know the truth that believes that everybody is not going to play their part. He says, because the ego is the part of you that believes that it can solve conflict through fragmenting everything and doesn't ever look at the situation as a whole. And so he says your ego, your false self, tries to split off segments of the situation or relationship and deal with everything and everybody separately, because there's a part of your mind that has more faith in separation than it does in oneness and dealing with things as a whole. So that means there's a part of you that whenever it's confronted with any aspect of any situation that seems difficult, there's a part of you that when it's confronted with anything that seems difficult, that's called the ego, it's going to attempt to take the difficult aspect and then deal with it and resolve it elsewhere. We just deal with this later, elsewhere. And then the court says, and it will seem to be successful, except that this attempt conflicts with unity, because you weren't focusing on your oneness, you were focusing on separation, so that has the goal of truth, because the goal of truth is oneness and joining. So the court then says, guess what? Then you only experience peace in fantasy. It will seem like it's successful, except that it's hiding the truth. So it'll look like you have peace, but it's not real peace. It's peace that's still very vulnerable, and the next minute y'all arguing again or you're upset again. And so the Course in Miracles says truth, I love this, because truth hasn't come because faith has been denied. I don't have faith in the truth, and so that's my problem. I can always depend on the truth. I can't always depend on a personality. See, and that's how I can love you all. It's because I don't have an unrealistic expectation of your personality selves. I know your personality selves are going to be inconsistent. But your God self, your true self, there's a real self beyond the self that I'm looking at. That's the self that I want to tune into, the real you. That you I can always depend on, because that you is only love. Okay? And so the Course in Miracles says, and we're down to the last two sentences. Truth hasn't come because faith has been denied, being withheld from where the faith rightly belongs. Where did the faith rightly belong? In the truth, in the goal. Thus do you lose the understanding of the situation the goal of truth would bring, because fantasy solutions just bring about what? The illusion of me having the real experience. So how can I tell it's the illusion of love? Because it goes up and down and up and down and up and down, and I love you and I don't, and I think I love you and I think I don't, and there's no passion and there's no desire and there's no consistency. And the Course says the illusion of peace is not the condition in which the truth can enter. You're never going to have true love in the illusion of love, in the illusion of peace. You want the real deal. Course in Miracles students, they are old souls, old moldy souls. Souls that have been here so many times, they're bored.
Yeah.
They feel like they've seen this movie 10 million times. And some people know exactly what I'm talking about in here. You know you've been around the block. You know this is your last time, hopefully. And so therefore you are very sincere about changing your mind. The little baby souls, they're going to keep on doing it over and over again. That's why I always hope people get what they think they want, because it's only in getting what you think you want and finding that it didn't satisfy you that you might be willing to open your mind to something else. But if it looks like it's never showing up, you'll keep convincing yourself that it's the next thing around the corner that's going to do it. But when you start to you get the job you think you like, the house you think you like, the income you think you like, the body you think you like, and you still go, something's still missing now, you're going to start going for the real deal. But if you think you don't have any of those things, your mind is still going to convince you it is that next raise, it is that next person. So really the truth, like the Course says, in a sense, every time you're disappointed, it makes God happy, because you are more closer now to being able to listen. Miserable people will listen. Really, really happy people who don't want to lose it will listen. People in between, they mess around for lifetimes. I don't hate my job, but I don't love my job, so I'll stay on. It's not the worst relationship in the world, but it's not the best one. I'll stay hanging. You see what I'm saying? The people who have mediocre lives don't change usually. It's the people who go, I can't take it no more. I've done this enough. Those are the ones that want to hear the truth about relationships. Not the ones who are doing this for a hobby. Not the ones who come to class for entertainment. It's the ones who go, I either want to be on the maintenance program that keeps this joy happening and increasing, or there's some areas of my life that I have reached my limit of pain and I don't have to be right any longer. I just want to be happy. And I want to be happy so much I'm willing to hope I'm wrong. And that's what I do every time I'm unhappy now. I hope I'm wrong about, you walk up to a person, you go, I hope I'm wrong about what I'm telling myself about you right now. I don't want to be right about what I thought I saw last night. I want another way of looking at it. See, that gets people off their defensiveness immediately. I want to believe in the best in you, and I'm having some thoughts that's making me not think that way. Could we talk about it? See, that's different from, you bastard! You know, somehow or another that doesn't start a really loving communication. You know, I don't know why, but it doesn't seem to work that well. But people think, what, if I show you my anger, you'll do what I want you to do. And so whenever you respond to people when they attack you, you're saying, this is how you reach me. And so they just attack you more because they think it gets results. Don't ever give in to somebody who's attacking you. They got to change what they're saying before you will respond.
Yep.
I will not continue this conversation as long as you're attacking me.
Yep.
And they're going to escalate if they've been used to using it to control you. They're going to escalate. Don't you dare give in.
Yes.
They're not going to go, oh, okay, I'm going to talk nice. They're going to probably go, even more. But you still don't give in. If you don't give in, they eventually go, there's got to be another way. Or they leave. And it is not a loss to lose somebody who's not treating you right. Stop that stupidity of trying to run after somebody that's going, I don't want you, I'm not interested in you. No, please! Please, give me one. Please. You know, zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. My, oh my, won't you be on your way? Your sunshine in my way. So glad you're going away. Now you cry, you grieve, you feel your feelings, but don't run after them. They didn't recognize your value. They didn't recognize how beautiful you are. They didn't recognize what a treasure you are.
Yes.
I'd rather be by myself than be around somebody who don't see me now. But it took a lot of work on myself to do that. A lot of study, a lot of doing the Course in Miracles, a lot of being around other people who also wanted to do that. I say things very matter of factly here in this class that took me years to change my mind about. But the Course says, because I did it for you, you don't have to take that time.
Yes.
That's what he says. The relationship is so cool is that people can learn stuff for you.
Saves you time.
Right? I burn my hand on the stove. You don't have to. Why? Because I did that for you. Now, will you have sense enough to not put your hand on the stove? So that's what I'm saying. I've studied this book for 40 years, been doing it full time as my work in the world for 30. Don't think that there are things that I've realized in doing this long that could save you time, especially if you haven't even studied the book. You know, so, and one of the things I'm telling you is stop running after people who don't value you. Because that's telling the universe that's what you want, people who don't value you. And the part of you that doesn't think you deserve to be happy, the Course says that part of you will always seek for what's not available. So it will always want the person that you just a little out of reach or emotionally out of reach or whatever. When you love yourself, when you start to love yourself, first of all, you'll be perfectly okay to be in solitude. You will not have a problem with being by yourself. That's your first clue. If you can't be by yourself, you are not a spiritually mature individual. You got to have somebody with you every moment something's wrong with you. So if you need that, then the truth will send you people to be with you because there can be a need that you have that cannot be met. So you will draw someone to you to help you learn that lesson. Because you can't have a need that's not. The Course says if you're in a relationship, just say, I'm ready to learn. Just all you got to say to that. Don't worry about Match.com. Just go, I'm ready to learn. And you'll say, poof, they'll be there.
Oh my God.
They'll be there. All right, you want to learn how to love yourself? I was special ordered.
Special order.
You know, that's right. That's right. I'm Hoover. I'm the one that's helping you do it. That's right. Spirit knows everybody who would be the perfect partner for you to be with, better than you ever could. You're not alone. God is real. You're not by yourself. Ask yourself, what do I want? What do I want to come out of this? And what is it for? But you acknowledge yourself for going through this whole thing with me, for sticking it out. I appreciate you sticking it out. And I'm going to do one little thing at the end before we run out, and let's do the financial expression of appreciation. Thank you for sharing. I do my classes on a donation basis so anybody can come and take part regardless of their financial situation. but I'm also a full-time teacher. This is what I do, so thank you for sharing with me. Those of you online, go to earlpurdy.com, www.earlpurdy.com. You can make a financial expression of appreciation there. Woo! We pass this around.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, it's not charity. And I appreciate you looking at it, that's not charity.
No.
I am sharing, I am giving. I am not,
Yes, you
I
are.
am not just asking you to give me money for no reason at all. But you can. And those of you who are watching online, also, I want you to know that I'm available for one-on-one sessions that I use my 40 years of working with astrology and numerology and the 40 years of working with the Course in Miracles, bring it together and use it for you and your situation and circumstance that you want to see changed and you want to get answers to. You are not here without a plan. The way you can tell that when you're not following your divine plan is the level of dissatisfaction and conflict that you experience. Pay attention to how you feel. Usually, people who are most miserable are people who want to be right more than they want to be happy. And so they're trying to fit everything into their concepts of what's really happening. And that's hard. So what do we want to do? I do 3 Facebook Live classes, so even if you're not here, you can watch those Facebook Live classes, 1 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time on Facebook Live, on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook. Tuesday nights I do The Way of Mastery, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And also Thursdays I do what I call hardcore Course in Miracles that's especially geared toward Course in Miracles students who have been studying it or are committed to studying it. There's a lot of help. I literally got hundreds of free classes and videos on my website that you can watch for free, and hundreds of classes on YouTube that you can watch that are totally about handling very specific things that we're dealing with. So we have a lot of help. We're not all, and it should be fun. It should be, your spiritual path shouldn't be something that someone's forcing you to do. I love this. You should see it in my enthusiasm. This is not something that somebody's forcing me to do. So pay attention to that. Are you excited about your path, or are you looking at it like pulling teeth? Because some people approach the Course in Miracles like that. Okay, I know I should come to the Course. No, you shouldn't. If that's the way you feel about it, no, you shouldn't. Because you're not seeing it as the answer to your problem. No one's not excited about something that's going to be a solution. If you think this would really help you, it should inspire you, it should move you. Not, all right, I should be doing it. It may not be your path.
Yeah.
Okay, so here you go. In any situation, what you want to simply consider is this. What do I want to come of this? What is it for? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? You hear that? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? What do you want to come of this? What is it for? So let's say that. What do I want to come of this? What is it for? Anybody that feels like it? What do I want to come of this? What is it for? The reason why I use music and rhythm, you know why I use rhythm and music, is because it will affect your consciousness more than just talking dryly. And when you listen back to my videos, it's easier to hear it if you hear rhythm in what you're listening to. It's harder to tune out rhythm. It's harder to tune out music. So when you say these things out loud, and you want to say these things out loud, that's symbolic of your willingness to have it. So let's say it. What do I want to come of this? What is it for? Thank you. Thank you for coming out today, Holy Spirit. Hugs are available.
And they have hugs. Hugs are good for you.
So anybody that would like one, fine. Anybody that doesn't, that's fine. Some people don't like hugs. But the ones who do, take advantage of it. All right?
All right.
I love you. Spread the word. Word of mouth. Best advertisement on earth for anything. I just want, my goal, what I want to come out of this is you having the best, most satisfying lives you could have.
Thank you.
Ever.
You
Me
too.
too. That's what I want. That's what I want. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you. Love you.